Look, you know this is a classy adult offering because instead of just being The Last of Us 2, it's The Last of Us Part 2, using Roman numerals because this is a mature game for mature Roman numeral reading adults. You know, I felt like an alien back in 2012 when everyone hailed The Last of Us as a revolution of interactive storytelling, when really, to me, it felt like every other game out there where my interaction mainly consisted of shooting and bludgeoning and stabbing an army of guys. But no, everyone, look, listen. Look, there's a bit at the end where you press triangle at a giraffe, so it's actually an emotional masterpiece. Look, I'm not a dick. I like The Last of Us. It's a decent game. I think Joel and Ellie are very well written, and I think they're beautifully performed, and it absolutely is a story that can bring a tear to your eye. And look, I've played through it now about 3 times, and I've only played Silent Hill 2 once, so, do you know what I mean? That's the sort of person I am. But now here's the second game, and right off the bat, I'm genuinely much more interested in this one because, it's exploring the consequences and reality of a difficult decision, and these days in a story, I'm really interested in something that feels like it's pushing beyond a typical ending, kind of into the awkwardness of real life, and there are moments here, genuinely, when I was in tears, and I know a lot of people out there will be absolutely rolling their eyes at that statement and rolling their eyes at The Last of Us and how it reaches for emotion. But you know what those people are? They're bitter cunts. Because, there's nothing more boring than slagging something for its sincerity. Because how dare someone else reach for emotion when they have to pay £60 a week to a therapist who's struggling to connect them with their own emotions because they never had a dad like Joel who was more than happy to brick anyone at a moment's notice. But look, that's not to say The Last of Us 2, that's not to say The Last of Us Part 2 is a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. In terms of gameplay, we are just killing people again and again and again. And I think it says an absolute truckload about where games are at the moment, that the main gameplay development here, aside from killing people, is how do I plug this long plug into a plug socket that's far away, which, it's just, what an evolution of the form. I've always wanted to play as my mum who loves to overestimate the range capabilities of her iPad charger. But look, credit where credit's due, everything here does feel tighter, and it's funny how adding something as simple as a dodge button makes fights just feel much more dynamic and exciting, as you've got to kind of figure out an enemy's rhythm rather than just bashing square until they're on the floor and not breathing. And now gunfights take place in these kind of massive open areas that are densely populated with things to jump over, crawl under, squeeze through, and because of that, every fight ends up happening in a different way each time you do it. Every time feels like it's its own tightly scripted re-sequence when really you are in control of what changes from moment to moment. So, hats off, it is really exciting. But then you reach the climax of the story, right? An encounter you've been building up to for hours now. But first, before we get to the conclusion of the story, we're going to have a quick flashback from the enemy's perspective. Alright, great, cool, yeah, helpful. Even, nice to be in their shoes. But that flashback then goes on for another fucking 6 hours! 6 hours as the game holds your hand and force feeds you the notion that the enemy is a person too. But I get that. I got that. Do you know what I mean? I got it from the 5-minute flashback where we played her as a child. I don't need to continue playing for another 6 hours. I get it. I am a human who understands empathy and how other people feel. But then again, looking at the Metacritic user scores, yeah, maybe some of these cunts need that hammered home a bit more. Ugh. But you know what? There's positives to this game and there's negatives, but here's kind of my ultimate problem with it. I went for a second playthrough, and you know what I started doing? I started going, ugh, I don't need to play this bit, I'll skip to the next cutscene. And before I knew it, right, I'd skipped about 50% of the game. Imagine telling everybody that Succession was the best TV show ever, but you're like, look, just skip every second episode because it goes on for too long. Fucking imagine that. But I do think, and genuinely I do think it is one of the most important gameplay experiences of 2020, maybe of the last 5 to 10 years, because I think it's the game people need to play to realise there's a massive gulf between story and between gameplay. And look, I know there's people out there saying that, the violence is playing into the story and unveiling that violence begets violence, and yeah, I think, right, okay, no, I'm not after it. I do get all that, but I just, at the same time, come on to fuck, because what was the moment that we played that everyone was like, that was beautiful? It was the moment in the museum, wasn't it? It was the flashback in the museum, and we all fucking loved that. And we weren't stoving in anyone's nut there. So don't, we can reach for something more, surely. And look, I know I'm on the highest of horses here. I love stoving people's nuts in as much as the next guy, but sometimes you play an Animal Crossing, or you go back and have a shot at Guitar Hero, or, you do your 520th playthrough of Portal, and you just feel like there's something this medium can do, aside from shooting stuff, that people are just missing out on. So when The Last of Us comes along, and everyone falls in love with it as if it's the second coming, I can't help but be like, the story's only happening in cutscenes.
Because I know I'll kill my enemies when they come.